Earlier this week, we learned that Ruger launched the brand new Ruger American Gen 2, promising a lot of really good generational upgrades. And we did a deep dive video talking and looking over all the new models that came for the launch and the available calibers. There was, however, one problem. I didn't have a gun. Well, this week, I do. So I was able to pick up my first Ruger American. This is the Ruger American Gen 2 ranch model. So it's the first time that I've had a ranch. So let's take a look at it, take a look at what comes in the box, and get our first impressions. In a separate video, we're going to take it out to the range and start putting a bunch of rounds through it. So what caliber did I get it in? That was the topic of our poll, which many of you voted. And if you didn't vote, leave it as a comment below what caliber you think I got it in. But before we dive into the gun, this video is sponsored by, not Ruger, it's sponsored by Slav Guns. It is sponsored by us. If you love the content and you want to help support the channel and you want to rep some awesome merchandise, go to our website, luxgun.com, and you can pick up these awesome glow-in-the-dark patches. These are going to be limited. So once they're out, they're completely out. These are roughly 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches. They will look perfect on your range bags, jackets, things like that, and more, or your awesome patch walls. Also, if you're not a patch person, but you're a sticker person, you can get our original Slav Gun stickers right on the website. So thank you as always for your support, and now let's dive into the gun and see what we get with it. So the first thing that I noticed, this is legit going to be my first impressions. I picked it up from my FFL. I do have 2 Ruger Americans and plus a super awesome Ruger that they silently launched that still haven't been, so the Ruger American, other Ruger American, and the other special Ruger have not been shipped out yet, but this one did come overnight, so I'm super excited about it. My dealer verified that everything was in there. However, I have not opened it. I have not gotten my hands on it or anything else like that. So I'm super excited about this, and this will legit be my first impressions. One of the things I noticed is that basically Ruger, even though the rifle might be upgraded, we're still getting the exact same boxes that they do. Ruger doesn't spend a lot of time on a lot of money on packaging. A lot of it's like cardboard boxes such as this. I know many of you and probably the majority of people are just going to toss the boxes. I'm one of those people that I keep all of the boxes as much as I can until my basement gets flooded and a lot of those boxes go away. But I love boxes, especially the nicer packaging. I would say the Ruger, was it the Max 9 and the 5.7? Those came in nicer hard plastic boxes, but the rest of the Rugers generally come in cardboard boxes. So let's open it up and we're going to be giddy with its excitement. Ta-da! Packing slip. So they do come in styrofoam, and we have our gun lock. We have our bolt. Okay. We have a magazine, and this will give you some sort of an idea as to what caliber this is in. And we have our Ruger American itself. And then we have the manual. So let me get this out of the way. Okay. So it does come nicely packed. Wow, this is actually pretty cool. So as discussed, this is the ranch model. So the ranch model is going to be the shorter 16-inch barrels. And the ranch models are generally going to be in, I would say, your shorter cartridges, like your AR-based cartridges. Wow, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. But before we do that, so okay, let me actually put this down. We have our Ruger American Gen 2 manual. When you get this, one of the things that you absolutely want to make sure that you do is save this card, because there is a coupon code here for, actually it's not a coupon code anymore, it gives you a link to register it, and then you're going to get 20% off on shopruger.com, which has a lot of really awesome accessories. You do get a Ruger conversion revolver. Okay, something for the Bearcats. There it is. There's a Ruger sticker. There is also our Ruger NRA, join NRA, and you get that. And then this is actually pretty cool. This is just a postcard for shopruger.com showing you all the accessories that are available on there. And then we have our lock. I will say it's nice that this lock package is much smaller now. Before it used to be like a much, much bigger lock. So we have our Ruger American, and if you guys haven't guessed it by now, this is almost like a mini 30 mag, which means one thing. We got this in 7.62 by 39. So lots of reasons for the caliber. Well, first let's actually take a look at the gun. So we have our bolt. We have the serial number on the bottom of the bolt now. Interesting. Wow. So even putting the bolt in, it definitely feels a lot smoother. So as you can hear, I have my microphone right here. We don't have that zippered feeling. So one of the things that I'm noticing is that it is definitely a lot smoother. There is no zippered feeling as you do get with the old rifles. There's still slop in here, but it definitely feels a lot smoother and a lot nicer. The lockup, a little bit more consistent, so it almost doesn't have like that intermediate step. Definitely very, very nice feeling. So when I picked this up, immediately what I noticed is going to be this grip texturing on the stock. And then we have our safety, which is now 3 positions. All right, so let's start in the back and we'll work our way forward. I'll kind of give you the impressions. I'm kind of still taking it in. Beautiful rifle. So one of the things that, well, here, let's start with the back and then we'll work our way forward. So initial look, basically we have a black splattered finish. It is a polymer stock. It is hollow. Looks like it's possibly rubbing a little bit on this left side on here. A little bit more space in the back, but it is what it is. First things that basically we're noticing is that you do have a spacer here on the back. You do have a nice rubber cushioned grip, and then, buttstock, and then you have a cheek piece right here. Actually, it reminds me, do we have extra cheek pieces in the box? Did I just overlook them? Haha. So I don't see the extra spacers or different style cheek pieces. So we'll definitely have to take a look at that. I'm wondering if that is actually now going to be an extra, which would be a little bit of a downside. All right. Stock does feel good. It does look like if we take the spacer off, it'll be really good for a junior size. For me, the length of pull is actually fine. Probably, I would say, even a little bit long. Probably a little bit long, but I do have 32-inch sleeves, 32, 33-inch sleeves. So if you have, I would say if you're shorter, I would probably say even just take the spacer off. If you're taller, you shouldn't have any issues. We do have the cheek piece on here. Looks like we're going to be in the proper position. Moving forward, so I do see immediately this grip is much more textured. So it's a little bit, feels like a little bit wider, gives you a little bit nicer palm swell. And you do have this right here. Definitely feels really nice. Moving forward, we do have a 3-position safety. So all the way forward, it's going to be good to fire. One back in the middle. It's safe, but we can cycle the bolt. And then all the way towards you, the bolt is locked and you can't pull the trigger. So that's going to be really, really good for hunters. I know one of the complaints that I've heard, so let me put it on safe, is that because it's a 70-degree bolt throw, it doesn't take a lot of effort just to kind of lift it to this point. But it's from this point that you would have to actually crack it open. So it is a 70-degree bolt throw. That is what you have with a 3-leg 70. Okay, moving forward, we're going to have a receiver. Possibly the contouring on this might look a little bit different. Scope base is exactly the same. One of the things we're definitely going to do before shooting it is verify that the scope base is on and it is going to be torqued properly in place. Immediately, what you're going to see on this side is that it does say Mayerden, North Carolina. I believe the other ones were New Hampshire. So that is definitely one of the changes. They did move the production of these to North Carolina. You're going to have your serial, and then on the barrel, you are going to have your serial number. Let's go back on this side. So we're going to have our bolt. Immediately, one of the things you're going to notice is that it is going to be a threaded bolt handle. And it looks like a little bit extended bolt knob. I don't think they changed anything on the angle on this. So I would definitely replace the bolt knob. I mean, the small one, it's functional, it's fine. What I like about it is that there is an Allen Allen bolt pattern in here, so you can crack it open. Definitely I wouldn't do it with it in the gun, but I would take the bolt out, put it in a vise, but surround it properly and crack it open. There's probably some Loctite or anything on there. We do have the same plastic shroud on the back. It'll be interesting to see if we can get an aftermarket for it, but I do understand exactly why it is there. It is a lot smoother. Like I said, it's still a little bit of slop, but it's a lot smoother. Definitely plenty of room for the bolt and everything to run. The bolt, actually, this cocking piece looks way different on the back. All right, so we talked about that. Bolt stop, everything else is exactly the same. The barrel, so the barrels on the ranch models is going to be 16-inch barrels. On the standard models, they're going to be 20-inch barrels. So I'm assuming there will be the Go Wild and the Predators, which might have longer barrels, such as 24s for your bigger calibers. Like I said, the ranch, I think this is perfect for just around the property. I think this is perfect for a deer gun as well. So that's definitely going to be really, really nice for you. Going back to the bottom of the stock, so one of the things you're going to find is you're going to have a swivel stud on the back and on the front. I believe the swivel stud is when you start unscrewing it, that's how you're going to be able to loosen these two up so that you can replace this if you need to. What I would probably say is if you just want to actually throw a red dot on here or something like that, you can probably remove that and it'll get a little bit closer down. Otherwise, the stock also follows the same exact pattern. So you have one shell, and then you have these different inserts for the different type of magazines and how you're going to be feeding them. So the 7.62x39 feeds from Mini 30 mags. I don't know why they want that route. Okay, there we go. Just super tight. I don't know why they want the Mini 30 route, especially since there are AR-15 magazines, which are just fine for 7.62x39. And especially because I think like the 6.5 Grendel ones run off of, the 6.5 Grendel ones use AR magazines. So it's a little bit weird. I think what I'll probably do, because I do have a spare Ruger American stock, is we will try it in a further video. We're going to replace this bottom section with the inlet for an AR and try to feed this from a 7.62x39 AR magazines instead of the Mini 30 mags. All right, that's that. So the barrel is going to be spiral fluted. So it looks like it's a medium contour barrel, and they did use spiral flutes on here. I do think it looks a lot nicer. The purpose of the spiral fluting, what it's going to do is it's going to help shave the weight, and because you have these indentations in the barrel, it actually increases the surface area. So we talked about it in the prior video, but it's almost like it's a two-way street. So yes, it definitely shaves weight, but it increases the surface area. So it will help dissipate the heat faster, but it's also going to heat up faster, if that makes sense. It'd actually be interesting just to kind of compare this versus something else, but we don't really have a good control group for this. But yeah, I generally think it just looks really, really awesome. You do have this radial brake, and what's nice about it is that 5/8 by 24, good. And you do have indents on here for a wrench, so you can pop it off, and this is going to be awesome with a suppressor. It should definitely be a really, really, really nice gun for a suppressor. Trigger looks like the exact same Marksman trigger. Okay, all right, we have a last round bolt hold open. We're going to get rid of that. So actually, let me just drop the magazine. Okay, so first impressions on the trigger. We have the trigger blade, obviously, and it's set a little heavy. It feels like almost like the creep is a little bit less. I'd have to get a gauge on it, but it does feel like, maybe I'm just so used to like 1.5 pound triggers now, but this feels really heavy. Maybe like 4.5, 5 pounds. These triggers are adjustable, so you can adjust them down. I would say maybe the creep feels a little bit better, like almost like we have a little bit less creep. And I'll probably need to work in a little bit that way as well. So that is the first impressions on the Ruger American 7.62 by 39. So the question is, why did I get it in 7.62 by 39 instead of something like 300 Blackout or 5.56? I was really close to requesting it in 5.56. But 7.62 by 39, there's actually a bunch of discussions about the caliber. And one of the discussions, I almost had like a, not a pissy fight, but we had a really good discussion in one of my local FFLs, and he's also a fellow gun content creator. His channel name is Dommy Glocks. Newer guy, awesome guy. He's a big fan of his Glocks and his AKs. And we were kind of having a discussion. It's like, okay, well, 7.62 by 39, it's okay, it's a minute a barn, you know the jokes about it. Not accurate at all. And I was like, okay, well, 7.62 by 39 is inherently not an inaccurate cartridge, and it is closely related to the very accurate, probably the most accurate cartridge you can get, which is 6 PPC, which is also the basis for 6.5 Grendel and 22 arc and all of that fun stuff, and 6 arc. So the issues why 7.62 by 39 is inaccurate is rather the guns that it's typically chambered in were not really precision rifles, and they're made just to be reliable and pump out a crap ton of ammo. So the vast majority of the ammo was also just supposed to be minute a barn. It didn't really need to be precise. There is precise ammo. Well, I guess there's accurate ammo that's going to be out there. There is some match ammo from what I could find. And I do have some brass cased, I believe it was Lapua ammo, so we'll definitely test that as well. And then you have companies like PMC and Hornady make really good ammo for 7.62 by 39 as well. So part of it was kind of just like to prove him wrong. I'm like, okay, like I think we'll be able to get good accuracy out of it. And based on my discussions with my contacts at the company, I do think we should be able to get at least 1.5 MOA, maybe even like with crappier ammo. And I do kind of suspect we will get 1 MOA out of this gun with hand-loaded ammo. And one of the things that basically is going to be part of it is, so even though 7.62 by 39 it's a 30 cal like 308, the bores are actually slightly different dimensions. So typically, your AK bores are going to be like .312 versus 308 is 308. So a lot of the bullets and everything that's used for 7.62 by 39 is actually based off of 7.62 by 54R, which is going to be a 311 bullet, often basically shared with 303 Brit. And what's unique is that this gun doesn't actually use a 311 or 312, but actually uses kind of like an in-between. So they aim for .3105 to 3.115. So should be a little bit on the tighter side. So I am interested in, and one of the things we're definitely going to test when we're hand loading it is using original, let's say 311 cal bullets, and also we will try some 308s as well, and just really see what we can do. So the two goals for this gun are going to be, number one, is to see how accurate we can get the gun. So that's going to be your 100-yard groups, and really, I mean, like, I'm not saying that this is a precision rifle, but I can definitely see a really, really good basis for this, for something that could be super cool. And then my own personal goal is to see how far we can push this 16-inch barrel 7.62 by 39. This summer, I was able to push a 20-inch Ruger American. Actually, was it 20-inch? I don't remember. Maybe it was 18, 20, one of those. It was a Ruger American Predator in 6.5 Grendel. My goal was to hit 1,000 yards, and then with my friend Ryan, Bending Ballistics, we were just like, okay, well, we hit 1,000, but like we can go out to 1,550 on this range, so why not? So we actually took that gun out to 1,550 yards and were able to hit a XXXX. Actually, I think it was a mini XXXX plate at 1,550 yards with 6.5 Grendel stock barreled action Ruger American. So 7.62 by 39 is not as inherently efficient. And I do have access here to a 750-yard range, and I guarantee you on the first trip we will be doing that. However, I will be interested to see if we can get this gun to at least 1,000 yards, even as it is right now, because that would be super cool. Like I said, what I do kind of like about this is that most of the time we'll probably be shooting it is going to be with a suppressor. So we'll be trying both subsonic and supersonic loads, and just really have a ton of fun with this gun. Now, in the beginning of 2024, when Ruger does launch these in 6 ARC and 22 ARC, we are going to get those as well and really see how far we can push those. Especially since, like, what's really cool about these guns is that you have a big aftermarket for Ruger Americans right now. So you have aftermarket triggers, you have a whole bunch of chassis and stocks. And what I applaud Ruger on is that while they did change the geometry on the bolt, and a lot of the stuff is not going to be backwards compatible to the Gen 1 stuff, the chassis, the stocks, and the triggers will work on the Gen 2s. The only thing that's not 100% is going to be the triggers. So while the triggers will work, what will not is the 3-position safety. So you'll only have a 2-position safety because that is tied to the trigger. If you're a target shooter, I don't think that's going to make any difference to you. But prove me wrong if you think it is. I mean, I don't know what I don't know in that regard. But I personally don't think it's going to be a big deal for that. For hunting, I completely agree that having that 3-position safety is going to be a big deal, especially since, as you can see, it's fairly easy to, once it's cocked, it's fairly easy to get the bolt to lift. It doesn't just like lock in all the way in the bottom. Granted, it's still locked in place, but yeah, so you have that. So by having a 3-position safety, now this bolt is actually down and you can't lift it up any further. So absolutely keep that in mind. Actually in the middle position, so in the middle position, you can actually start lifting the bolt It's only in the third position where it's 100% locked. So those are my first impressions and my thoughts on the Ruger American Predator in 7.62 by 39. And let me know what you think, and I will see you soon. As always, thank you for watching. Keep on squatting, and I'll see you in the next video linked up here.